G'day guys, my name's Matt. I'm the captain of the Rum & Q barbecue team here in New Zealand. We've been competing now for about 5 years. During that 5 years, we've learned some tips and some tricks. And today, I'd like to go through some of those and show you a little bit about what we know in preparation for summer coming up. So today, we've got one of my favourite cuts actually. We've got a standing rib roast, or a scotch on the bone, or my favourite terminology, a tomahawk. If you cut these bad boys into individual steaks, you get that lovely tomahawk. So we're gonna put this in the barbecue today. We're gonna give it a good rub down with some of our seasonings. We're gonna use a little bit of mustard just as a binder, and then this beautiful lump of meat here will feed easily 6 people. So if you just pair that with some veggies or a nice fresh salad, you've got a feast fit for a king. So what we're gonna do today, we're gonna rub this meat down, then we're gonna go over and we're gonna stoke the barbecue up. That'll give this meat time to come up to room temperature, and then we'll be ready to go. So you don't have to worry if you don't have a barbecue. Any of these things that we do today can be done in the oven, and also you can also sear this off in your pan. So it's very, very easy. What we are going to do today is we're going to reverse sear. So that means we're going to put it into a nice warm zone, which could be your oven. In this case, we're going to use our barbecue today. Then what we're going to do is once we've got it to a nice temperature, we're going to cut this thing down, and then we're going to sear it to just caramelize that outside. But for me, I mean, the barbecue presents a whole different way of cooking. I mean, we can add smoking wood to this. We can use briquettes. We can use lump charcoal. All of those little different ingredients go a long way to giving you a different product at the end. Okay, so this is a really simple process. So we're going to use 2 ingredients today. We've got our slap it on mustard. Now, this mustard will act like a binder, and it'll also help create that crust. Now that's where all your flavour is. When we reverse sear this thing, everything's going to caramelise. There's a little, and I don't want to get too technical here, but there's a Maillard reaction here, which is where the sugars start to dissolve and react with the amino acids. So that gives you that beautiful brown, lovely tasting bark. Okay, so it's very, very simple. We get the mustard and we give it a good slather. Now, it doesn't matter if you don't like mustard, don't worry, you won't taste the mustard at the end. All this does is help you get a little bit of stickiness to the meat, and of course, that wonderful bark. All right, so it's just a little slather, and we're done. So today, we're gonna use the blackout. Now, this has just got some real simple, familiar flavors: salt, pepper, garlic. We've got a few other things in there that I can't tell you about, but what we do have in here is a nice color. It's an activated charcoal, and it gives you that really black flavor. Now, it may scare some people, but trust me, the contrast between the red meat and the black bark is something to behold. So we'll tear this off. Little Ziploc just to keep it all fresh, and we just give it a little sprinkle over all the red meat, turning on the side, turning on the end. As you can see, that's jet black. All right, that's it. Now, this blackout, I would only really use on beef. I wouldn't use it on chicken. I think that'll scare people. Veggies, it might scare people as well, but it really does work well with a nice contrast red meat. There you go. We did a little bit of mustard, and then we gave it a nice sprinkle of seasoning. What that's going to do now is the salt will work into the meat. Once it works into the meat, it'll accept a little bit of smoke, and it'll accept that barbecue flavour. So we'll just give this about an hour, and that'll give us perfect amount of time to just get that barbecue up to temperature. And we're probably shooting for about 120 degrees Celsius or 250 Fahrenheit. We want to gently cook this. We don't want it to cook too much on the outside and make the inside raw. So that's the advantage of this reverse sear. You can bring the whole meat to the same temperature, and at the very end you can give it that crust. So we'll head out to the barbecue now and stoke it up. Okay, so we've got this Kamado style barbecue here. Now there's a lot of different versions out there. There's a green egg, There's Kamado Joe. This guy's from Holland. These are ceramic. And what this guy allows is a couple of different zones. So I can have an indirect zone here, and I can have a direct grilling zone. So that indirect zone would probably represent your oven, and then the direct grill would represent any sort of gas style barbecue, all right, where you can just sear straight on top of it. So this is a perfect setup for us today. We don't have to change anything. I've already set it up, so I can go from that zone straight to that zone with very, very little fuss. So we just lift this out. It's nice and easy. Everything's in half moon, so I can do another deflector plate here and have it fully indirect, and that's great for smoking your briskets or your pork shoulders. Or I can take that one out, drop that down, and I can have a full grill. All right. Okay, so as I said before, we're going to use some charcoal. So we're using lump charcoal. Now this stuff comes from Heat Beads. It's a really good product, some of the best stuff out on the market. It's a hard wood, so out of 4 kilos in this thing here, I'd probably get 12 hours heat out of it. So, you know, charcoal's not expensive and it's not that much of a pain to start. I've got some little compressed cardboard little tabs here that I'm going to start, and we just simply chuck it into the pit, and away we go. Okay, so pretty simple. There's no chemicals in here. It's all natural products, so it's not going to permeate through the meat. It's a little bit windy here today, so let's just go in here a bit. Get it going. Make a little bit of a pit there. Cover it up with some charcoal. Okay, so what we've got here is I've just got a nice bed of charcoal down. You can see it's all fairly uniform, and that just gives a nice, consistent, clean burn. So what we're going to do is going to cover up that flame, get those charcoal lumps going, and then now I can just put that grill straight in here, open up the vents, and we'll come back in half an hour, 45 minutes, and we should be good to go. Okay, so we're just at 250, a little slightly over, that's fine. Once we put the cold meat in, that'll sort that out. So I can smell the smoke. You probably can't see it, but that's exactly what we need. We just need a lick of smoke here. So we will see maybe a little bit of blue smoke. We certainly don't want to see the white puffy stuff, because that gives you a nice, really bad bit of taste. All right, guys, you can see here now the meat started to sweat, so that means the salt's done its job. It's penetrated into the meat, so that's now going to accept that nice charcoal flavour. Right, so as I said before, we've got 2 zones. We've got the indirect zone and we've got the direct zone. We're going to put this guy on the indirect zone, if he fits. And we're going to leave that go until we hit an internal temperature of medium rare. Then I'm going to rest it, and then I'm going to slice it up, and we're going to get that nice medium finish. All right, so this is the big piece of meat that I've been sort of looking forward to cutting into. So we've rested this now for about half an hour. We got an internal temperature of about 48 degrees Celsius or 125 Fahrenheit, so that's rare. Okay, so I want to bring this up to medium. So I've given myself a little bit of margin there. So basically what we're going to do now is, this is perfectly fine to eat like this, and you could serve it just like this. So you just bring your knife down through the bones and cut it, and we should see a nice pinkish bit of meat. Look at that. There's plenty of moisture in there. So as I say, it really is up to personal preference now how you like your steak. You can eat it like this. You can definitely serve it like that. I mean, you can see that, that's just like jelly. Or we can give it a bit more seasoning, and then we can just chuck it straight back over the coals for a reverse sear. So what we might do today is I might leave some like this, and then I might just show you what a reverse sear looks like. So if I was going to reverse sear, I'd go back to my blackout. I'll take this guy here. I mean, look at that. That's beautiful. We give him a little bit of a light rub, both sides. And then we go out to our barbecue, which is roaring hot. So I'll see you at the barbecue. So if you like this recipe or want to check out more like it, head on over to recipes.co.nz, or if you want to follow us in our barbecue journey, head on over to rumandq.com, and that's where you'll find it all. Cheers guys.